Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to First Touch. We are back. We're here Monday, March 8th, International Women's Day. Shouts out to everybody who's a part of the Rocket League community that has been, a female streamer and stuff, and really been helping grow the scene for like all the women and representing them very correctly. We'll talk especially more about that a little bit later on in the day, but you already know who it is. Me, Daz, Roll Diz, and T Bates boys. Hey, how you feeling today? How you feeling?
Eesh. It's another, early Monday afternoon, noon. I don't
It's
know.
afternoon, because
I'm
we
chilling,
vibe
chilling.
after. Yeah. I'm vibing. I'm liking the start time. I'm feeling fresh. Ain't gotta wait till 7. I'm ready to go. We got a lot of good things to talk about today. So let's get into it. Hope everybody enjoy the show.
Let's get right into it. So first thing we want to talk about is some news that ended up happening over the weekend. It's gonna get a little dramatic here, but JG7 removed or kicked off of Kansas City Pioneers to open this one up. A lot of us know, especially here on the First Touch, we all know JG very well, and yeah, I mean, we were getting that news or seeing him get that news, that was really kind of tough. But I mean, talk to me. We'll start with Tyler about this one. How do you feel about this kind of roster change coming out from KCP?
Um, when you say like, kind of elaborate on your seeing word, or is that like not
Uh,
allowed?
I mean, like, I'm gonna be tricky with it. I think what I mean when I say that is just like, we all kind of
We all know him.
right. We all know him. We know how he would
Okay,
react
that's
to
fine.
something like
That's
that. You know
okay.
what I mean?
I figured there's two paths that I could take it from there.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, JG getting kicked mid. I mean, it's during the rosters transition form transfer portal, but at the same time, I don't really necessarily understand the need to kick JG. I know he's a hard worker. I know he puts in the time, really cares about his players, his team, and is always looking for the best way to get them to succeed. And he's been coaching them since the beginning of this RLCS season, correct? So they've had success with him, and at the moment they are not having success. I mean, this happens. It's a year-long season. Not every single team can be like a BDS. You even see the best teams in the A. Some of them, like G2, they're not even having a year-long success. It's little spurts. Dignitas having their spurt in EU right now, trying to get to that consistency. So to JG's credit, he has KCP in the position to contend for a world spot, which a lot of NA teams at the moment cannot say that they are in that area. And personally speaking, taking off friendship out of the equation, I don't understand why the team would decide to make this move right now. You you want to have that continuity going into the final split. You want to have that consistent voice, and all it takes is a couple of tweaks, and all of a sudden, KCP could be right there in the top 6 category once again. So them getting rid of JG from out of nowhere, they got big shoes to fill, and as far as I know, at the moment, they haven't even hired anybody else, correct? And
Yeah, as far as I
it's
know,
been like
nothing.
5 days. Exactly. So it just sounds like they just wanted to get rid of JG, and they didn't have a backup plan for JG. They didn't have somebody else that immediately can come in and take the reins, which is from a team perspective, consistency perspective, not a good look personally.
Yeah, it's tough to kind of view that right now, that team, that KCP roster, as I think JG being that fourth voice on that roster probably brought a lot of just like mentality aspect. I know just being in a household with him, JG, like you could tell, I could hear him screaming for KCP when they were playing the games. And I mean that's something I think every coach does. They want to see their team succeed. But I just know JG wanted it a little bit more than I think most people. Like you can tell the energy he kind of brings to an atmosphere, and I don't know what kind of decision, why they went in that decision to kind of remove him from the roster, but um, hopefully, hopefully KCP still can manage without him because I know he brought a lot of positive atmosphere to that roster.
Yeah, I think it was very very like confusing. I think is the right word for me to describe it. I just didn't understand. I'm like, okay, James is very passionate, and replacing a coach, like there's a lot of changes you can make, or yeah, a lot of I think KCP couldn't make any more changes to the team, I guess, because they ended up using like their trade window spot or whatever. But I feel like replacing a coach kind of, I don't know, it's just weird because I guess you can always
It's
swap out coaches and stuff, but like I don't know.
if it had to be done, you wait until after the season. I feel like because like you want to exactly what T Bates basing off T Bates point, you want to wait until the season is complete to then work on another play style or another atmosphere of a coach or whatever that coach is going to bring in. But you basically want to follow whatever that coach that you had for the whole season, who
Uh,
has you at the edge of that top 6 spot. You want that sort of play style, that sort of mentality that that coach brings for a whole season. And it's the same thing you see in like actual sports
Actual
where
sports.
yeah, where they don't drop that coach until like unless that coach is like terrible and they don't see consistent improvement on that team, you're not dropping that coach until like the next season or the
okay,
off season.
so I want to pose a question based on this too. So, do you think in the future, when we talk about trade windows, do you think coaches should be a part of the rosters in that ability so they kind of have some protection when it comes into like the trade window?
Oh no, I
Yeah, I
think I
don't.
think I don't believe that. I do believe that I mean, we all know how the Rocket League ecosystem works, and for the most part, most orgs don't know enough about Rocket League or like the ins and outs about Rocket League for like the GM or the CEO to say, okay, we're just gonna fire him. It's not that's where it differentiates from an actual sports league. Because
Hmm.
say we can bring out about the Houston Rockets or something with Mike D'Antoni, I believe his name is Tillman Fertitta. He's the GM, manager, owner, something like that. He's very into basketball. He knows the in and outs, and he wants to succeed. And so when they got rid of coach, it came up to him. But in Rocket League, it's the opposite. I believe I don't talk to any of the players personally on a day to day basis, but just going off of other teams and other previous occurrences of matters such as this is definitely more of like a player initiative thing where a player comes up to the CEO to the GM of the team, this one being KCP, says we do not want or we do not like this coach at the moment. We would like to for him to be excused or pushed out the door, and then the CEO says, and then can you kind of put that seed into their head in the first place, and then it's really a play. That's why Rocket League is different from most games and sports. It's more of a player initiative type of deal. So I think to go back to your point, Demar, about the coaches having security with the player transfer portal, rather than having that, I would just believe that orgs should have more say and like a greater understanding of Rocket League and appreciation of what the coaches are doing for their players, in order to combat uh in order to combat players coming in and trying to get rid of
Players.
coaches.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I believe that would work better.
Okay. Yeah. Were you gonna say something, Roll?
I was just like on top of what T Bates was saying. I 100% agree. I think there should be a specific person. If the org top management obviously isn't going to pay attention to every single there's not like an owner of an org that's like super just into every single esport team that they have. They're
Right.
like a great example is Carlos from G2. He's so involved into like the League of Legends scene, and he's so involved into what he sees in that League of Legends because that's where he came from. And I think a lot of orgs definitely should have one specific person that they prioritize in each esport team that they have, so that their knowledge of the game, they can make decisions based off what they're seeing, not what the players see and the players'
Right.
opinions.
Right, because if something's going wrong, especially for younger players such as a Beast Mode or a Rapid, they're still on high school. When the going gets tough, people want to make change. They want to blame somebody per se. It's very easy to blame the coach or blame the little X's and O's that are happening rather than self-reflecting or really focusing on what the coach is saying. And once you start blaming the coach, that's when no matter what he says, it just becomes a wall because you're already tuning him out. You become deaf tone to him in a way. So I believe having that solid structure, like a rule saying that he even took it a step further with somebody in the org being like above the coach, a GM, something like that, but actually understanding everything that's happening and like sometimes even watching scrims per se, seeing what the coach is doing, getting the coach reports, stuff like that. So he can take himself and he can get the player's opinion, but he also have his own opinion, and he can see what the coach is doing just to give the coaches more security in that matter. Because we are talking about people's livelihoods, and so some people they live off the money they make off coaching, and they helps them pay their bills. And so just having like, and that's some things that younger children, especially younger kids, younger teens won't understand from a grown man perspective. So I believe or should really try to focus on should try to focus and start protecting some of these coaches and some of these manners.
I like that he said from a grown man perspective. That's
grown man.
That's the one that got me. But it's facts though. It is facts. I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand a lot, especially when we talk about casual fans. I think many people do not understand the fact that you guys are, for these select people I'm speaking on, talk about other players, coaches, casters, or whatever as if like they don't do this for a living. You know, like they don't they don't have their whole livelihood off of stuff like this. And I've seen every possible scenario from almost every possible player, or like I said, player talent or whatever, where people are like, this person should be fired, this person should be doing more, this person should, but you guys just don't, one, you don't understand the league, you don't understand the ecosystem that goes on, or how this is all structured before making an opinion. And then two, when you have that opinion, like one, we see it, even if we don't comment on it, we do see it. But two, it just doesn't make any sense. It's just like completely just like not relevant, because the way we view it and the way everything has been set up and the way people are like living their lives, like the system kind of works in like its own way. There have definitely been changes over time to make people more sustainable and make this whole thing more sustainable for everyone. But like, you know, like when y'all be making these comments on the internet, sometimes y'all gotta understand it's just like this is something that's like a big deal for James. You know what I mean? Like that's
for James and anybody else that would be in that position.
That's heartbreaking. That's like absolutely heartbreaking to hear. And then you lose that sense of security and everything after that. So
right. And if these teams and orgs really want to get with the year-long program that Rocket League's taking, there needs to be that security, at least for a year, because not everything can be like an actual sport where you could just lay off a coach who's making hundreds of thousands of dollars. He can take a few weeks, few months off and figure his life out. He's got the money, he's got the time, and he definitely has the connections that he's already made up that high. This is it's a growing esport. It's not like coaches are getting paid $8K a month or something, and coaches can take 4, 5, 6 months off to try to also reconfigure, get job interviews, stuff like that. It's not consistent like that. So those matters and many more should really be explained to players or coaches and all that type of stuff before they make these rather rash decisions without, especially, and I'm gonna call it rash because it's been exemplified as being rash simply based on the fact that they haven't hired anybody else since, and it's been 5 days, almost about to be 6. So yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna see another replacement in that spot. I feel like I feel like JG did his best to bring that team up, and we saw them place high in some tourneys. We see them right outside the top 5 spot, right? And
right.
I don't know if anyone can do something better. So they're just gonna. I feel like it's just gonna be them 3 players, and I think that's an argument that a lot of people make where maybe like there's an argument where you could say you don't need a coach, right? And the players can figure things out themselves, but who knows? I guess we'll see what time will tell.
Yeah, facts. All right, I think we should move on. Definitely want to like be more appreciative and like hopefully we see more or see JG kind of like get back on.
Can I try to segue this one?
Yeah. All right. Do your thing.
All right, so as Damar stated earlier, right off the top of the show, today is International Women's Day. We really appreciate our women in the esports scene. And speaking of, just recently, as of yesterday, there were some really interesting tweets about from some players within the scene that were jokingly, but like not jokingly at the same time, coming at the Women's Cardball Championship, specifically the EU one. Uh, Damar, you have and I know Damar especially, and all of us do, have some comments about these tweets per se. Damar, would you like to elaborate on that? Really let the people know?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a good idea, Tyler. Yes. So as you guys know, there was like this whole big thing on Twitter on a Twitter post about like
They
the
might not
Women's
know.
Cardball League.
You might have to post a tweet.
Oh my God. Okay, so I put the tweet in the chat because Tyler really
There
wants me
we
to put
go.
the tweet in the chat.
There we go.
As soon as I see it, there it is. And it was just like this whole big like passive aggressive, like super, woo. Everyone's just like taking shots at each other in the Twitter thread. There's no real productive conversation going on here. So, but I think the thing that's just so much more irritating too is one, it's Women's History Month. Today is International Women's Day. This is a time where everyone should be like promoting and uplifting each other and just being, like, hey, like these people kind of go through their own thing on like a day-to-day basis, but we all come together to have this time this month, just like we did last month with Black History Month, but this time it's just celebrate the women in the world. So if anything, I don't understand why people thought it was relevant to say, hey, let's take this time to talk about this Cardball League that's doing a $3,000 prize pool tournament and make a joke about it. First off, we've talked about prize pool monies and stuff like that. Before we even get to like prize pools and stuff like that, it's just the league is catered to a specific audience. That's just what it is. It's in the name, Women's Cardball League. Like that's it. That's all there is to it. There should not be any type of like, ooh, well, why do they get a league and there's no league for people who are 25? If you want to make a league for people who are 25, ain't nobody stopping you.
You go and make that league.
You go and
Go
get
make
that
that
league,
league.
and you go and make that stuff. Because guess what? When they didn't have leagues for bubble players and stuff like that, I made a tournament. It was called Skirmish. People do stuff when they want stuff to happen instead of just saying it
Pretty
on
successful.
Twitter threads. So instead of just saying, well, I don't think that this makes sense because they're not doing stuff for this, you could be that day. You could do stuff like that. So that's that conversation in its own. But then on top of that, I think that like instead of just trying to come at a league, instead of doing all that, why don't you actually go on the page, see all these people who are playing Rocket League, actually watch the streams, actually try to be supportive of people who, like, again, women go through a lot of stuff, especially in the gaming industry, and that's from all levels. People who are top tier talent, you can talk about like Shox and League of Legends, all the way to people who just Q Rocket League ranked. It doesn't matter. People see girls in gaming and it's a whole different conversation about it, and it's annoying at this point. And I think that, with this, it just kind of shows like a lot of immaturity. And like, I mean, at this point, I guess I can expect it. You know what I'm saying? Like, woo 17-year-old rank 8 players, whatever.
Facts.
But
20.
like at this point,
20.
20-year-old rank 8 players.
20.
Oh God. But at this point, it's just dumb because like I just don't see like what is your end goal here? Like just impressions on Twitter, like a little
impression on Twitter, a little soft joke at people, at a specific group of people, just because he knows he's going to get likes on. He's going to be backed by people that will support him for whatever reason that goes through their heads. Yeah, I don't understand it either. Specifically speaking, it is like a Women's History Month, and I personally really like the Women's Cardball Championship because it gives girls, especially younger girls or even girls watching women play Rocket League at a very high level, something that might not happen per se if there was no league and they had to become like a Karma or something. Karma's a rarity. She's not a norm, and so giving women their own personal league to shine is a beautiful thing. And I like how Psyonix and Rocket League have really pushed for that type of tournament. And you can go roll what I think.
What? Well, I mean, I agree with you. And to back on that, Karma is a rarity. People talking about a 25 and over league. Karma is 30, almost 30.
28.
28? Bro, she getting there. And on top of that, she still was in the league for how long? So you gonna make up all these excuses, man. All these excuses. I don't want to hear it no more, bro. People be asking for way too much. What you want.
Yeah.
Stop asking for all this, man. Stop asking for handouts. Go and get what you want.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say on it.
It's like the same thing with like collegiate, and how collegiate got so much money and so many funds pushed towards it. Well, it's the whole entire new league. It's a different league that is actually becoming bigger and bigger by the day, and there are thousands upon thousands of people in NA, and also there are thousands in the EU that play collegiate, they attend university, and they're all really good at Rocket League. So this nonsense that and this hate that comes from people towards these leagues that they don't feel are legit or aren't competitive is nonsensical. It's just downright. I'm looking for my word, but I don't want to use the wrong word. Yeah, people, you can put the words down I'm looking for. Y'all can say it out loud to yourselves. But like, it's just there's no place for it. It's just completely unnecessary. And to all my women out there who are constantly being spited, who are constantly being pushed down by players in this game and in other games, I can speak for probably all three of us that just ignore them and do what you want to do and push it as much as you want to and just enjoy the process and love it. There's no way and for all these haters out there that come at y'all and want to see y'all not succeed or don't want to see y'all on stream, there's always gonna be haters. Just don't even entertain them. Just do your own thing, and there's always gonna be your supporters, the true people that really want to see y'all shine. I love to see it. I would love to see more girls on the main stage at RLCS one day, and maybe through women's cardball they'll get that shine, and then eventually they'll end up playing RLCS. It's stuff like that that really helps Rocket League as a game grow, and as a scene grow, and as people we all grow too, because there's going to be even more girls in esports, and we would all love to see that. So for all these little kids on Twitter and in chats hating on these women, just continue hating. I don't think they care about you anymore. And this is that's coming from Tyler Bates. You can quote me and all that.
I think we should leave it at that. I think that's it.
We love women.
Facts. Okay, so moving back into news, obviously EU transfer window has been going on for the past week or so. We've been monitoring it a little bit. We're gonna look at some things that have been going on from both Europe and NA for a little bit. First thing we're gonna start with, is the Team Liquid post that I saw on Reddit the other day. Pretty much Team Liquid is deciding to not make a roster change. I'm gonna link this in the chat for you guys. That link will take you to Remco's Reddit post or Reddit comment where he says both the team and high management decided to not go for a roster change to split. Probably sounds ironic to many of you, but it wouldn't even really directly fix the issues we're running into. I mentioned it months ago, but there's still a short burst of good performance. Practice is by no means incredible, and there's plenty of things to improve on, but it's definitely a level above tournament play for the most part. Our stats versus similar teams backs this up too. While practice and tournaments are never the same, which we all know too well, there's too significant of a difference to completely ignore it. Of course, Liquid wants to have a top team representing them. Worlds is out of our reach right now, but we're very thankful they still believe in the roster and have our backs this split. There's not a lot of orgs that care more about just results like this. It's great motivation, even with placements we've been getting. They've made good progress in the offseason, but given the struggles we've run into in the past, we can really only tell when RLCS comes back around very soon. So that was Remco's statement on the roster change, or lack of roster change. Team Liquid will not make a roster change going into the spring split.
I think it was extremely professional from Remco as a coach. There is a lot that goes into building a team. There's a lot that goes into being a successful team in this league. And seeing Liquid's performance, I think we all have hoped for a higher floor, a higher ceiling than they're hitting right now. But looking at that roster, you would expect them to play to a level that they should be playing at, which is at least top 8, right? I think all three of us can kind of agree that that roster, Speed, Ronicky, and believe Fruity, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they all should be playing. That roster specifically should be at a top 8 level. I think to back on Subpar when they were on the show, they said that EU is very depth. They have a lot of depth in their scene, and I agree. But just looking at that roster specifically, I think they should be a top 8 team. And maybe this time, I think a lot of it might be down to mentality on that roster, and that's what a lot of teams struggle with when they cannot find that. A lot of the teams in the top 5, you'll see that their mentalities are great. They're for the most part, they back each other up. Their chemistry is fantastic, and teams that you would expect to be doing well but don't do well, their mentality kind of struggles and they doubt their teammates, they doubt their players. The lack of trust is there, and hopefully that changes for Team Liquid.
Really, I can kind of backtrack a little bit and go to what we were talking about when it came to JG and how it's the Rocket League specifically is becoming a year-long process. So teams should really be trying to, once you get a coach and the players, you might be and a sub, you might be able to make one roster move if necessary. But for the most part, that should be the team that you're going in for the year. And Liquid is taking that approach, which I really commend and respect them for, because it gives all those men, all those players a consistent source of income, and it also gives them, they don't have to worry about Liquid dropping them or anything like that. It gives them the freedom to really focus on their job and focus on what they do. And according to Ronicky, not Ronicky,
Remco.
according to Remco, they're having good scrims. So in the scrim results, we all know is scrim results, as he says in the twit logger or whatever that is. But eventually those results will come out onto the field. And just over a year ago, it was with a slightly different roster, and they were under Mouse. It was actually a different roster almost entirely at this point.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't even say that team is as good. But Speed specifically was finishing second or third, fourth in EU. So it's only a matter of time with the better roster on paper that this team starts performing. And Liquid providing them with that really solid background of support should help them out a lot.
Yeah.
What you got to say to Babern?
Well, I think that, looking at, Team Liquid, it just, the results haven't necessarily been there. They've been, what are they right now? 13, right?
13th, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, like with 390 points. Top 6 has 1,000 more points than them. So, or roughly. So, yeah, it is safe to say they're out of the world's conversation. I think a lot of us thought that I remember when the team first formed, they had Cookser on the team. And
they did.
Then they did the roster move where they took Cookser out. And then I think they ended up replacing him with Ronicky.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was a change. And obviously, even with that change, didn't get the results that they were looking for. I'm still very critical on dropping Cookser on that team and everybody personally. But at this point, that's old news. I think Ronicky does add something to this roster, but like Remco said, they still have a lot of things that they want to work through, and they felt that. Wait a second. Well, yeah, I guess even the fact that they know they're not gonna make Worlds, they still decided to stick, because at that point, if you know you're not making Worlds, I mean, there's nothing stopping you from like making a change at this point. The points kind of don't matter.
Yeah.
So for them, I think that for them still to stick despite that, it means that they're definitely devoted to making improvements, which is something that's very telling on all members of that roster. I think it's just a time will tell type of thing, but I do want to say though, I do commend Team Liquid for really trying and to stick with the roster. I think that's a very big deal, because a lot of teams,
a lot of orgs especially, they get rid of their teams and players so fast, especially of that caliber. Especially of that caliber and prestige like Liquid.
Yeah.
Those orgs really just dip and they don't come back into the scene or anything of that matter.
Mm-hmm.
And Liquid really supporting their team is amazing to me.
I think it relieves a lot of pressure for the players as well, for that org to just stand by them, even if they're struggling.
Yeah. So.
And also all it takes is like that one split or something like that to just show that you have the potential, and then you ride that wave into the next season of RLCS. And I granted this is a completely different style, but G2 had that same type of vibe, even though in a shorter period of time. In season 8, they were almost on promotion or they almost played in the promotion tournament, or did they play in the promotion tournament? Season 8,
What are you talking about?
G2. They did play in the promotion
Yeah.
tournament, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
did. They went like 1-6 or 0-7 or 0-8, whatever that was.
Yeah.
And they're one of the worst teams. And they didn't make a swap. And then right after that, going into the next season, they won NA and looked like one of the best teams in the world. So it all it takes is just that consistency, that belief in oneself and your teammates and your coach and the staff and everybody around you, and your whole entire team personality and team success could really turn around just like
Yeah.
that, just in the blink of an eye. So Liquid taking that approach is respect to them, and I wish Speed, Fruity, and them and Ronicky the best in their endeavors to split. Want to see them succeed just because of the way Team Liquid's handling it, to be honest.
Yeah. So if anything, that does kind of make me a little bit more of a fan of Team Liquid, like just as an org coming into it, because we know if they're going to be
Yeah.
involved and they're gonna really work through things. So that's good to know. Moving on, we do have some other roster news that ended up happening. I think this one's actually a really interesting one. Bluey joining Galaxy Racer in place of EXO. This is that Tyler said towards the end here. Does this put Galaxy Racer firmly into top 6 discussion? Is really the question. They're sitting at 7th right now. They're 10 points from Guild. And honestly, I think this is one of the more interesting changes out of the trade
Out of all
window
of them.
for Europe, right? Galaxy Racer was a good team. They were able to beat BDS in some series. This was a team that had a lot of potential. And now they end up, after the major, I mean, to be fair, their major placement wasn't that solid. Where'd they finish? I know they had 260 points from it, but
Racer?
they lost
Yeah,
in
they
losers
played
round 2 to Gil.
Yeah, so I think that's like
Yeah.
that's like 7th and 8th, I think.
Yeah, so that's not necessarily a good place, and obviously Guild shot up and passed them, so it could be something that
It was 2-3 though, I think. It was like
yeah,
that
it was a
close.
5-game series. It was a 5-game series, but I think
Wait, Guild against Guild? No, it was 3.
It wasn't? Oh, it
Yeah,
was
my-
a 4.
my
My bad.
bad.
On me.
wait, you're talking
Yeah.
about Galaxy Racer versus Guild?
Galaxy Racer versus Guild?
Where's Guild? Yeah, 3-1.
No,
I'm looking at it
3-2
right now.
in the major.
Where are you looking at?
Oh, wait, chill out. Chill out.
What do you
wait, chill out.
Okay.
That's
I was just about to roll with it. I was about to roll with it.
Just because it got that.
The Fabric-
Okay, I see though.
The Fabric, the Fabric got some big sheet on that screen somewhere with
No,
everything on it. He don't share it with
yeah.
us, but I mean, it's whatever. Go ahead, the Fabric.
have
We gotta
my-
be looking for
Look,
own
I gotta have
stuff.
my
Facts.
numbers.
We
I
gotta
got
do
my
our own
numbers.
research while somebody else doing the research for him. Unbelievable.
I guess someone's doing the
Unbelievable.
research for me.
And somebody doing it.
I
I
just
know
have it
that.
on Wikipedia. I just right click. Look, that's why I got all them tabs open. I got them tabs open.
Oh, you got some tabs open already.
Man got like 30 tabs.
30
bro.
tabs, bro. I'm surprised your PC don't blow up.
Facts.
Continue, man. Got off on a tangent.
Yeah. So 5-game set between Galaxy Racer and Gil. Loses round 2. Went to obviously game 5. They lost by a goal. It looked like a close series, but I think maybe Galaxy Racer has to be frustrated, right? They played BDS in winners quarterfinals, got 3-1 by them. I feel like they want to be closer to them. I'm gonna pull up numbers because I do want to see like the history between Galaxy Racer and BDS. But you guys talk to me about what you think based on the move here.
Go ahead, T-Biz.
For me, I mean, I'm not directly connected to the EU pro player scene like that. I know some, but I don't know what exactly happened. I don't understand necessarily why they would make the switch. I mean, you're sitting at 7th, and you're 10 points off of 6th, and EXO ain't bad at all in my personal estimation. I watch them. I do watch everybody play, of course, and EXO look decent enough to me. So I'm not too understanding of why they would swap out for Bluey at this point in time. It might be internal issues. It might just probably, I'm assuming it has to be internal issues because the field play don't look that terrible. And
But wouldn't you want the what season was it where Bluey was MVP? It was MVP season.
This
and then
season
got
8,
kicked? Yeah.
season 8 MVP, yeah.
Season 8, season 9, one of them.
It was season 8 because they went, yeah, season 8 because they went, or did they go to LAN? I don't remember if they went to LAN, but he
Yeah,
was season 8
season 8.
regular season MVP.
Then he got kicked off. because of mentality issues. Now that's what I think is going to be a big struggle for this Galaxy Racer team with Bluey on it. Obviously, Bluey's skilled enough to be on a top 10, top 8 team, right? I think everybody can agree with that. The thing is his mental, and that's I can't stress it enough. Mentality in this game is everything. Like your mentality is gonna carry you to wherever you want it to go, right? Wherever you think you can go, if your mental's that strong enough and you put in the work and the effort, then you'll get there. And if Bluey just doesn't believe in his teammates, as soon as he starts, maybe they'll struggle a week and then he loses all trust and becomes this toxic guy again, and he gets kicked again, and Galaxy Racer falls down the
Kicked
the
again.
whole roster, then it's just gonna be tough for them. And they're gonna be mad that they dropped EXO because EXO, like you said, EXO's balling out. So
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not
and
playing awful.
uh,
Yeah, it's just so strange to me
Yeah, I don't.
because Bluey hasn't really. You go tomorrow.
Oh no. I was just looking at. So I looked at the last 3 matchups between Galaxy Racer and BDS. Galaxy Racer took the first one, but that was in a grid playoffs, which is, I mean, I think it's still important. But then, the next grid it was a 3-1, and then in the major it was a 3-1. The Galaxy Racer, ever since they've become the team Galaxy Racer, has played close sets with BDS.
Everybody.
Yeah, it was a fall major playoffs where they went 7 games against BDS. They actually almost beat them.
They almost beat him.
I
They almost
remember
beat him
that
that
one.
major.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
sure did.
That was a close game too.
Oh, it was tight.
Yeah, it was one of them. I think it was like one of those where like it came down to like one play and something
Yep,
happened.
BDS been having a lot of that. Eventually, that lucky bunny that they be hopping around with, he gonna stop hopping somewhere eventually, and eventually they gonna lose. Yeah, that's a discussion. It's only a matter of time. Them game 7s ain't gonna keep favoring them. But
Yeah.
continue.
We're gonna talk about more BDS too, but yeah, I mean that the whole point of it is just to lay out the potential Galaxy Racer had with the original roster, and the fact that they decided to go with Bluey, of kind of, well, I won't say of all people, but yeah,
It's
they
out of the blue. He hasn't been winning. He's really good. We all
he's
know
good.
Bluey is
Yeah.
really good. Bluey is insanely good,
He just hasn't been winning.
but he hasn't been winning. But I mean, then again, he could have been on a lesser team, and you could put. He's a really good player. You put him on a good team with Arju and Matane. All of a sudden, he looks amazing, like his old self, and then they're winning. So maybe they're going off potential. Maybe they, but like how like it'll have to be some internal from my perspective, because they're not doing bad. They were never doing bad, never doing poorly. They're just 10 points off of 6th, and it would just be random. It would, like, imagine waking up. Oh yeah, we're scrimming with Bluey today.
No, Ixo gotta feel terrible, man. Because like,
but he went to play with who did Ixo go play?
Oh
with?
yeah, I think his team's actually pretty solid too.
It's
now he got something to prove.
Had it
Like
somewhere.
he's like I was playing.
He's not on Godsmiller's team. He's on Aether maybe. Don't quote me just yet.
Hold on, I'm looking.
Yeah, Aether with Yukio and Tox.
Now Ixo got something to prove, man. Get booted off a team that's right on the edge of making it, and
That's a
now
good
you
team
gotta
on
start
paper
over.
too.
This is an old school team, huh? Aether.
Yukio, Tox, and Ixo. That's a good roster on paper. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So and it just really just goes down to how good everybody is, especially on the cusp of, if not in the league. Everybody's amazing at the game, but to Raul's credit, Raul always points out the mentality and the confidence and the consistency within the chemistry, right? Too chemistry, because I think that's what really separates these teams nowadays. Because everybody's ridiculously good. There are Bluey is insane, but he's like floating on the teams.
But the question, yeah, and this goes back to the original question. They picked up Bluey. Is this gonna put Galaxy Racer firmly into top 6 discussion? I don't know.
I don't think it's confirmed because like you got to see how that team meshes with each other. Obviously, Bluey, a talented player individually. That mentality is that shaky part that we don't know about yet, and maybe they're friends outside of the scene. We don't have an in-depth field like we do in NA
Right.
of the EU scene, so we don't know. Maybe Bluey's like best friends with them, and He's really close to them, and maybe they will be dominant. They'll just sneak in. Well, not sneak in. Maybe they take down BDS. Who knows? Who knows?
Not firmly for me. Not firmly. I don't. Firmly is a strong word, and there's just teams that in the EU that are really firm, like BDS, Vitality, Blokes, Giants, Dignitas now, as I predicted correctly, and just have to make sure you heard that correctly part. And I mean, after that, the 6th spot is kind of open because Oxygen ain't doing it for me. 200 points off. I'm expecting better out of them, but they've been a little bit slow for me. So it's only, we'll see. I'm not gonna say firmly. I think that 6th spot in EU is pretty open, but the top 5 for the most part is pretty firm and in place.
Firm,
Yeah, six spot open though. So they ain't running, but any better, only time will tell.
Hold on. Okay. So yeah, for me, I
Ooh, can I
think.
segue again?
Yeah, segue.
yeah.
I like segue. Never mind. You go. I messed up. I messed up.
What's up with him, man? Okay, so just to finish on this, yes, Bluey Jordan Galaxy Racer is something everyone's gonna keep their eyes on. Well, it firmly put them in the top 6. I say no, but I'm also one of those time will tell type of people. I got to see it on the field for me to really know. Like, I watched them on one day and then I can tell them. But for right now, I think it's just a wait and see type of thing for me. But speaking of roster changes and other wild things I think I never would have saw, we got Cookster teaming with Rix Ronde on Wolves Esports. Again, I just never thought I'd see Cookster and Rix Ronde on the same team. I love them all. And then with Oli as well, Oli the third. What is up with that? I don't even. That's weird. It's really weird.
It might be the Legends' last run.
Yeah.
If it don't end up well for him.
You think so?
It's sad to think about, but he's dropping like the names around him are just dropping to names that we don't really talk about too often. So
And he was just winning less than a year ago.
Actually, you know
the crazy
what?
part to me.
That's interesting too, right? And when you think about it, Galaxy Racer went with Bluey over Cookser. I don't know. I love Francisco Chicamani. Okay, like he's definitely.
You want to pronounce that again?
yeah,
You want to pronounce that one more time?
Again, real quick.
Say it one more time.
No, I'm not gonna say it again because I got it wrong. So, yeah,
I wouldn't know.
What do you mean?
The way you said it with confidence, bro. Yeah, thanks, bro.
I got the first name wrong. It's Francesco Chicamani. That's his
There
name.
it is. Ooh, that big come off the tongue and nice. That's a nice name.
Right? It does.
I need that. Francesco.
Francesco.
Something. I'm not even going to try.
Francesco Gigamani. some John, bro. I don't know what you said.
Okay. All I'm saying is like I've seen him work. I know how hard he studies the game. Like there's people who study replays and there's people who study replays like Cookser. Cookser studies some replays. And he's done marvelous work for a while now. It's crazy to see him go from being kicked from Liquid to now. I need to look at the roster history here from Cookser to kind of see where he's been landing recently. Because I remember, he played with Flip Flop Tactics, but that's whatever. And then he played with Swag for the Grid Quals, but who was that? Flakes and Resi. Oh wow, he's teaming with Flakes and Resi. That's pretty interesting. But I think that like he's also been. I think for Cookser, it's been a difference of him being selective over who he wants to team with. Yeah, especially after dealing with the whole Liquid stuff, and then also the mouse and flip side and everything surrounding that. But also versus kind of like the Kronovi effect, where you're starting to see, okay, maybe this dude's not playing as fast anymore. It's been a long time since I've really seen Cookser like on the field, so he could just be falling off. I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
I think Galaxy Racer, you made a point that they picked Bluey over Cookser. I think a lot of people just view Bluey as a player having more potential over Cookser because Cookser's been in the scene since the beginning. And you could argue that Cookser is a solid player, which he is all around the field. He does what he needs to do, but you want to pick up somebody with potential to do more for that roster. Maybe that's what Galaxy found in Bluey that they didn't see in Cookser. So
To me, I think he can still compete. He's been lasted this long. Every single time people say he's fallen off or something before, he always comes back and wins or gets really close to winning again. So I believe the legend at this point, the old Rocket League vet, could compete with the best of them. It's just a matter of finding the right team, which is really hard these days for a lot of people for various reasons. It's all about that right mesh. So I personally wanted to see him succeed. I don't necessarily think it's more of a Kronovi thing, like Raul said. Cause Crow just simply hadn't won in the longest. And he kept getting placed on these really great teams just based off a name, and he just wasn't winning and at all. So
well,
eventually, by the time he got off of Rogue, he just dropped,
well, off that Kronovi thing, like Kronovi and Cuxer have a completely different like sort of play style. I think Kronovi still wanted to be the man, you know what I'm saying? And like the way he played, he still wanted to be that number one, the guy on offense, the guy scoring, the guy producing offense for his roster, and he couldn't do it anymore. Like there's way too many young guns with way more potential that have way more mechanics up and coming because they sit in free play all day, all night. They don't sleep. and and Kronovi, you know, he's getting there, bro. He's getting that age where we need our bed. You know, we need to catch some Z's to have a fresh mind at things. And these kids they stay up all night playing free play, and they start to outperform you
Oh
offensively.
man, that man is 20 something.
Hey, bro, it don't change the fact. Don't change the fact, bro.
Yeah,
when you get to that age, you got to do grown man things at that point. It's not all about sitting down and playing a game anymore. You got to do other things. There's bills to pay. You know what I'm saying? So Kronovi, hey, he don't got all day to sit on the game no more. Sometimes, all right, he got to be out and doing something. You know, it's not all about the game anymore. When you reach a certain age, these kids don't got responsibilities, so they on the game all day. They do their little schoolwork for an hour.
Just talking about Raul, man.
Hey, I'm just saying, bro.
Raul perspective, Kronovi could be a pretty simplistic dude. He could just wake up, play Rocket League, order some food, and continue to play Rocket League. So like, but see, like if your Roll Diz has a different mentality. He's got other things to do, so he's giving you the Roll Diz living life plus Rocket League expertise here to break down. But regardless, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say I don't see Kronovi on the game all day, so that's why I'm just assuming he's got other things to do.
Me, yeah, right. I can agree with that. He definitely probably does have other things to do. But for Cuxer here, I don't know. I've watched him play with Liquid. He looked a little slow sometimes, but he always filled in at other points and looked decent enough. So it might be a comms thing or something along those lines. But it'd be really sad if he were to not succeed here and then not make it back up to the top again for the Rocket League scene, because everybody used to watch Cuxer on that Batmobile hitting the double touches. Him and Devo, especially, were the two best at one point, and they were really excited. They really pulled a lot of us they pulled the original players, and like I'm like a second wave type of player into playing Rocket League. So I want to see him succeed at this point, and I'm wishing him nothing but the best for me.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
What about you, tomorrow?
Like I said, I think it's crazy that like this team is a team in general. I think that.
Why you say that?
Because it's like looking at.
Are you saying Cuxer's just on a higher level than them?
No, I'm saying that like Oli. First of all, Oli, like in his like whole like season, has been definitely wild because he was on Barrage for a while. That team was like having some solid results, and then you have Ricks jumping in, and then now you have like Cookser coming in as well. Like the level of career growth for all three of those players is so spread out. So seeing them team is kind of like, as someone who's like kind of watched all these guys for so long, it's just, oh, this is odd in a way. Like that's what I mean when I say that. But I think this is also another one of those like, okay, we have, we'll have to just see once they hit the field like how well they work. again, looking at this, you can kind of even have the same explanation that for Galaxy Racer and Bluey. Like, why does Wolves go with Cookster instead of Bluey? Or like, I don't know who secured who first in that kind of play there, or like why these teams went with their decisions versus like having other decisions. But it's one of those that I want to see. There's definitely some other things, but these are going to be kind of our like quick hits that we're going to talk about here for a little bit. We are 50 minutes in the show right now, but let's talk about formation of Aether. Tyler, what's up with that?
What's up with Aether?
Yeah,
Like the formation of him?
yeah,
The team? That's Yukio, right?
I think so. You wrote it.
Yukio Talks and
Yukio Tox and Ixo, yeah.
Yeah,
It's it's just all these new teams are so strange to me. They can all like compete, but I wouldn't say they're gonna be at the best. Once again, Yuki is another guy. He was legitimately. He has the EU Season 9 EU champion tag, and that was in April 2020, less than a year ago. And now he's on a whole entirely new team with completely new players trying to make his way back up to that level. It's also interesting in this Rocket League scene. It's kind of fascinating and kind of scary for people who want to like try to make it up to the top. 'Cause even the person at the top doesn't like, he can just fall right back down that fast, which only puts people like Garrett G, for example, like you got to hold him to the highest regard because he is never moving. So he has job secured. So I mean, they can compete. That'll be cool. It'll be nice to watch them, and they have potential. I want to see Ixo. For whatever reason, he got kicked off of Galaxy Racer, left, replaced, whatever word you want to phrase it as. He's not on the team anymore. I want to see how he performs, and then Tox is a pretty solid player as well. So I think it'll add a little bit more parity to that depth that Cole and Stumpy were always talking about. They have even more depth this split. So that's Aether for me.
That's facts. I think Yukio is a name that we kind of. I think Yukio is always gonna be involved in the scene, whether it's his stream or he's gonna be on one of these rosters that we look at on paper and we're like, all right, this is a solid roster. Now, looking back on what T-Base pointed out, that Yukio in the past he has a champion tag with that Dignitas roster, right? And I just don't know if we're ever gonna see Yukio at that top level again. I think it's just another one of these downward kind of effects where we just have like a player goes through that where he's at the top and then he slowly starts declining on the specific type of team he's on. And I don't know if he's ever gonna find that mesh that he had with Dignitas back then. So I'm super excited to see Ixo. I think he's gonna be extremely hungry after getting dropped for Bluey. Extremely hungry. There's only two ways you go with this. You're either extremely demoralized and you fall off the face of the planet, or you're extremely motivated to get back what you think you deserve, because Bluey or Ixo was performing on that Galaxy Racer team. So I'm super excited to see how Tox fits into that kind of rotation and how they mesh. I think it could be a positive thing for them. So
yeah, I think it definitely has like a chance to be really positive if it all works out. That being said, interesting changes. And then I think on the other side of things too, talking about the former team Yukio was on, I think now Freaky, one of the players that Yukio had teamed with on Fadeaway, is now teaming with Godsmilla after Godsmilla got kicked or released from Singularity, which is honestly, based on seeing all those tweets about like Singularity and Godsmilla, that's probably a blessing for him. But
he should have been left, bro. Singularity been messing with Godsmilla for too long.
That's facts. So now Godsmilla has a squad, and I think that's also going to be another one of those like interesting teams that you want to keep an eye on to kind of see how they do. See, like maybe even like compare the two as the split goes on and see where they land out.
Yeah, which team, like which player out of Freaky and Yukio, they're just on the same team. Which one was more of the problem, or which one's just the better player and enables their team? Well, there'll be an interesting comparison to see which one has more success to split, and also once again just adds more depth to that EU scene that Cole and Stumpy talk about, and I'll keep saying it.
100%.
Yeah.
And speaking of, I'll segue this one. And then speaking of, now we're gonna transition to a little bit of NA. Let the bad brain get on up in here. We got one the mic teaming with Young Gun, Chronic, and Hockey. The Babber, do you see this team doing any damage? You should feel like one of Mike settling for less than he should. What's going on here?
Doing damage? No, not really.
Oh no, just flat out
That's
no.
bold.
No.
Okay.
That's a
Yeah.
no.
I don't.
Elaborate. Let us know.
Well, the thing is like when I look at this team, I feel like they're like a headache. That's a nice word. Like a headache for
Well.
other teams to play against, just because. Just because you have Wonder Mike and Chronic, they're both gonna go for everything. I don't think Hockey can manage all of that, to be honest. I think Hockey's really solid, but I think when you have two people who are just going for the ball constantly, Chronic is really young. Wonder Mike is Wonder Mike. We know, at least a little bit of like Wonder Mike's style as a player based on his former teams and how he acts or reacts into the game. Like you need to have somebody with a cool head. You need to have two people with a cool head who know how to manage the pace of gameplay, or like a leader. And I don't see you really ready to jump in, and I don't see that happening right now with Hockey.
Bro, you go.
Oh, okay.
Well, DeMar had a flat out no, but I see three young guns. I see three young guns, a lot of potential individually, all three. I just don't know if they're gonna mesh well. All right, so I'm looking at this roster and I'm like, Wonder Mike, why'd he get dropped from United? All right, I'm looking at Chronic. He looks super shaky the first time he was playing on stream, super shaky. And I got Hockey. Hockey, he's proven a lot in what I've been seeing from him, and I think he might be one of the most consistent on that roster. Wonder Mike with the most potential. Obviously, we've seen what he can do, and my thing is like they don't have that backbone leadership that they're gonna find on a team with a player with experience. So when I look at that roster, I'm like, who's gonna step up to calm the nerves when they get antsy? Do I see Wonder Mike being that guy? I can see Wonder Mike being that guy, but I've never talked to him in depth to be that kind of player, and especially on a roster like E United. If he's getting dropped, he's definitely wasn't that guy to kind of just bring things down, lower things down, and get the team back focused on what they need to do. So I see a lot of potential out of this roster. I just don't know if they're gonna mesh well enough and be able to calm the nerves that they need to in order to perform.
Yeah. Break it down. Raul point out Wonder Mike. I personally believe he has potential to be top 15 player in A. He just would have to get the mental side of it or wherever it's lacking and the composure down. Didn't work out for EU. Might work out here. I think he's really talented. Chronic, also really talented young player. Can make some noise. Hockey is a really hyped up player. Everybody loves him in the NA scene, apparently so good. So they can make some noise. We're doing a transition now. There's a new team on the block. Luke, Mile, and Money. Mile, everybody knows him from 1v1s, being on Johnny Boy Stream, Fusion Tournament, G2 sub. Luke has the infamous flipper set goal and RS against whoever they play. Somebody help me.
Okay, wait. Like this team played in the split. Remember, it was Luke, Mile, and Forky. Like last split.
Oh, yeah.
So they just replaced Forky with Money, and then they added
With
Threes as a
Money.
coach, which I think is an upgrade. I think it's just
What
an
money
upgrade.
over Forky?
Absolutely. Like
I think it's an
It could
upgrade.
be an upgrade. I don't know which one. I have to see him play.
I think Money. We see Money on that team with Paulie and Stokely and
Hockey.
was it Hockey? Was it Hockey?
what's up?
Yes.
Or was it
Yeah.
Heck?
No,
Hockey?
Heck plays with the Astro. No, Heck played with Neskov and
Oh yeah, you're right.
somebody.
100%. Yeah. All right.
Almost maybe.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I remember specifically watching one tourney where Money was doing a lot offensively. But that's running into a problem because you have Mile on the same roster. You have Luke on the same roster. Now I don't know which one of these three players is gonna be playing defense too much. If Money is that player to want to do a lot offensively, I think Three's got a lot on his hands to kind of deal with and kind of figure that situation out.
Don't worry.
Looking at Three's resume, he's a CRL ex-CRL alumni.
Ex-CRL. Yes, right. That's right. And he's the first CRL player to become a coach. He's gotta set the path blazing for CRL players to become coaches one day. We got a different type of experience, different type of professionalism we come with, and I expect good things coming out of Threes as the coach. So I'll make sure to watch out for Luke Mile and Money with Threes as the coach.
Oh
Why you say
God!
like
Oh
that?
dear.
With, with
Three.
threes as a coach.
Like what the heck? Okay. That being said, yeah. Interesting roster. We'll keep an eye on them. Stealth and Parth on, I believe, Soul looking for third here. Hmm.
Who you got, T-Base? Who they picking
That's their
up?
third. That's their third.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, they can go with I don't know whoever's out there. And I'm my boy Paulinho out there.
Oh
Ooh.
boy, Paulie going through it.
Paulie going through it.
He had to find him.
I just feel like whoever they do end up picking up, it's gonna be really tough to make the top 20, like the top 20 easy per se. And then if they do make top 20, which whoever they pick up with, that potential is definitely there. They're gonna have to also be able to compete and try to like further themselves. And whoever they pick up per se isn't gonna like automatically jump them into like a top 12-ish, top 14-ish, like
Who-
automatically. You know what I'm saying?
Who was on that roster before? Parth, Stealth, and who'd they have? Remember?
Mm,
Let me look it
my
up.
mind blanking. They were on stream. I watched them. I watched them.
What's that team named? Soul?
Yeah.
Turtle.
Turtle.
Yeah.
Huh?
But I think they had Expert in there for a little bit.
I don't think Turtle played with them.
Not like Isaac App Turtle, the other turtle. Oh no, that's a sub.
No,
that's a sub.
yeah,
So
I don't
it
think
was
that. I don't think
Expert. It was
Turtle played with them
Expert.
either. It was Expert.
Expert.
Okay, and Expert just recently.
Or
Well-
yeah, they have. Oh wait. So Runter Regional Event 1 was Shea. Jesus Christ! Like, why does this team have so many different rosters?
Facts,
2021.
bro.
Because they're probably all like 16 and all just want to succeed immediately.
God. Okay, so Parth, Shea, and Stealth was the Winter Splits team.
What was the roster that did well? You remember when they were like
Stealth.
it was Shea?
Yeah,
They had Shea?
Shea
Yeah.
on the team. That's
Mhm.
that's the team. That's the roster that did well.
Where's he at? Bring him back. Where's he at, bro? I saw so much potential with that roster. They were shaking up things a little bit. I was like, Stealth making a name for himself a little bit. He was looking
crap.
nice, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
facts.
They need to bring him back. So because that team just meshed well. They brought Expert in, and I didn't hear nothing. That's not to say nothing about the players individually. It's just that they didn't mesh well, and it happens. Like it happens sometimes. You know, you're not gonna mesh well with every roster you get on. So
This team should learn to just stick with some players for more than a 3-month, 2-month span and try to see what can happen. Because you never know. You already have some success. Why switch it up? No need.
Facts. Okay. I'm gonna cut that next part out. We're gonna get to that in a second. Just got news that just happened quite literally now, or maybe like 10 minutes ago or something like that. Oxygen did drop Farrah Shawsett and Astral. Like, they made a tweet about it. I put the tweet in the chat.
so they're just orgless.
Yeah, I guess they just don't have an org right now. At least according to what I obviously haven't been on Twitter, so I haven't seen this. But yeah, that is what it's looking like. Hey, yeah, this happened.
Random.
This happened so fast. Like, no one's even changed like their Twitter bios yet. So
That's crazy.
Does that mean Oxygen's about to pick up somebody else? Cause like Oxygen right now, they are sat at what is this? They are sat at like 10th with 11 to 40.
let's see. I mean, I'm looking at it, and there's nothing that is suggesting. Okay, Shawsett had a weird tweet, but there's nothing that is suggesting that Oxygen is picking up another team.
And Oxygen also has been improving. They just had their most amount of points from the Winter Major.
Let me see here. I'm gonna put this.
And they kind of
in-
tossed that series. I remember watching that.
Oh god.
They lost to who was that team that just kept scoring empty nets against them? It was
I pushed Shawsett's response in Discord, and I'll also put it in on.
Guild. They tossed against Guild, and they took Dignitas. They took Dignitas to game 7 and upper bracket too.
Yeah.
Like it's just so random.
It's crazy to think that like those 3 players should be performing at a super high level, even regardless before this, like before that they got dropped, before that they're what you said they were in the 10th spot. Yeah, we talk about Astral a lot. T-Base. I think
I'm
you
assuming.
want him
Go
to
ahead.
get back to where he was, and
I think he's
just
really good.
he is.
They just I mean, it's one game 7 against Dignitas and it changes around. It's probably have something to do with contract because basically just looking at Oxygen's performances and their performances as the seasons went along, they have progressively gotten better and better. And like they're right at cusp of making top 6, 200 points out, less than 200. All they need is one good regional and the good major, and they're in there. So it's probably contractual agreements. It doesn't make sense for Oxygen to just drop them like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like Chaussette's response is kind of weird too. Like it's just like an emoji, but it's just like okay, like I don't know.
Like he's just like sad or something.
Yeah.
Or like he's disappointed. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, they should be fine. Or no, the players. I can see this one being more of the players and the org having issues on how much people should be getting paid and matters such as that. Oxygen's still good. They are right there. So there's no real reason to randomly drop them.
Very true. Very true.
Outside of that.
Okay, well that's just something that we really want to get to real quick. That just happened. If maybe more things develop while we keep talking, we'll find out. And if we do, we'll let you know. Let's talk about something. Let's talk about something else right now. Yeah.
Why is that down? Why is that down the
we
mark?
gotta talk about something else right now real quick. So, as you guys know, United is still LF3. But, as I tweeted before we went on the show today, it looks like they're going to be playing in Astro tonight with a Tyler Bates.
Look at him.
TV3 is taking the field.
He made it.
Yeah, you're providing unnecessary attention. I'm getting
Look at him,
eyes
look
that
at
I don't know what on, man. Help.
We got Tyler Bates on the field for E United. Going to be in Astro tonight. That is wow. Like
Hey man,
we talked about it, but
we talked to Jackson, and looks like he took our advice. Jackson, claps to you, man. Claps to you. You picked up a real gem here.
Oh,
he's gonna bring that leadership on the field that you need.
Oh gosh.
oh man, he gonna slide it top
because T-Base don't stop talking, so
that's facts.
He gonna pick you up when you down, Jackson, and that's all you need to know.
Oh man,
go ahead, Demar. What you got to say on the subject? I know T-Base don't want to talk about it.
Like we'll see. So we saw the Astro. We saw that y'all signed
He's moving
up.
the mic around.
Y'all signed up for the night. You know what I mean? So it's just it's just we'll see the development over time. I think everybody and their grandmas are gonna be looking at that bracket. People don't really watch Astro, but when they see TB3 on the field, they gotta tune in.
They gotta tune in. Look at
it. For many reasons. Support, hate on CRL. All I'm saying is that I'm just gonna say one thing. They said that CRL can't compete. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, so
we'll find out.
We're gonna take a page out of Raul's book. So you got your boys? And then your boys?
You got your boys tonight? You got your boys tonight?
I know. Astro, first off, Astro's a very fickle thing. It's a best of 3 to start off with. And also, he's been scrimming with his boys a whole bunch. They got a whole bunch of chemistry.
Oh, no, nah. Listen.
You
and Jackson went to the same school. Y'all got experience. Jackson has experience with Tristan. I ain't nothing but a thing at this point. Okay. You got the chemistry. Okay. Y'all talk to each other all day.
Okay.
Hey, bro. No excuses, bro. You got your boys, T-Base?
Winning?
At least
the
doing
Astro.
well. At least doing well. Come on now.
Come on, bro.
I hope we do well. I really hope so. That'd be good for everybody.
You gotta have some confidence.
We need the Garrett G mentality.
We need the mentality.
We need the Garrett G mentality.
Don't worry. I'll be confident. I'll be really confident come playing. But at the moment, y'all put me on the spot. And I was keeping it on the down low.
Ain't on the download no more.
Yep, sure ain't.
That was coming out either way.
Oh gosh. hey, I gotta respect it. It is first touch. We talk about everything, and that's just one of the things that we have to talk about.
How many times I've been put on the spot, T-Base? All the time. every tourney. I always gotta get my boys, even if we don't do well. You always gotta back up your boys.
Facts. So We'll see how that ends up happening. But now we're gonna move back into the actual RLCS. Obviously the trade window's still going on, but the spring split has been announced. We saw the format. It was pretty much groups in a single elim bracket, so to speak. Initially, what are you guys thinking about how this format is? I personally like it a lot. I think that, seeing how the group stage is going to work and like seeing everything kind of laid out, I think we're going to get a lot of competitive, exciting matches. It's going to be 4 straight days of Rocket League instead of like having a regional be like one weekend and then another weekend. It's like, okay, who's playing well that week? And just straight action packed. I think in terms of this and other things too, we are going to have a really fun time on the spring split.
I believe, just looking at it, it hasn't been executed, of course, but it format wise looks like it is the best one so far, in my opinion. The Swiss, and the reason I say that, the rationale behind that, is because of the consistent 4 days rather than the break like the fall split had, where it's 2 days of Swiss, then you had a break, then another day of Swiss, then the 1 day bracket. This is a consistent 4 days, so it's like who's the best team over that course of 4 days, rather than taking a week off to practice again. And it's going to switch up scrim schedules. It's going to be an entirely different way for pros to approach the game, the coaches approach the game, and it's going to be interesting to see. I'm really digging it so far. And then on top of that, you have the grid. Have they announced the grid? They did. Yeah, they announced the grid.
It's in the tweet?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh, maybe they didn't. I'm pretty sure they did. But
how you got? Well, you trying to use me to fact check? You can't use me to fact check. Yeah. They updated the grid. They did update the grid.
Okay, that's what I thought. And so, I mean, yeah. So, and then does that correspond with the split? So they're gonna have 1 week of RLCS and the next week's gonna be grid, or is it 1 week RLCS break, grid, RLCS? Does anybody know how that works?
So this is how it's gonna be. First regional is the Europe Regional 1. That is going to be March 11th through the 14th. Then the next week is going to be Regional Event 1 for North America, which is going to be March 18th through the 21st. And then after Regional 2, you know what it says, going like on
but so where's the grid fit in all that?
The grid fits in, so it's pretty much, actually I don't think that they have grid dates yet.
Because the way they announced the grid in that announcement was that it's a league play, right?
Yeah, it is.
And it's go ahead.
I think what's gonna happen though is they're gonna do it the same way they did fall split, where there's gonna be a regionals, but there's also gonna be grids happening too.
Simultaneously?
Not simultaneously, but like
they had
think
it
about
where
it.
it was.
I was gonna say during the actually hold on. You know what? Let me just try to fact check this real quick. Give me a second.
Because logically speaking, it would just make sense to have RLCS. No, can you say it's gonna go EUNA, EUNA?
Yeah.
Like back to back to back to back?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that when EU is playing their regional, grid's gonna be happening for NA. Because the grid's like a week-long thing as well. If it's a league play. Unless the grid is literally just one thing rather than having 4 or something like that again.
So
is that how that works? Is it just one grid? Like one completely thing?
What I'm looking at is group stage for Europe is March 22nd through April 12th. Which is assuming that the league play matches are going to be more like spread out over the course of things.
Oh, wait, I'm looking at the grid. Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah. There's only, keep in mind, so the grid is just one big thing instead of mini tournaments. And you do the league play, and then after you do the league play, you do the playoffs. I think playoffs.
Sheesh. It's top 6.
Yeah. Yeah, top 6 is in the playoffs.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Oh man. Hey saying you gotta be the best of the best. You gotta be cream of the crappie.
That's how it
Make
should be.
playoffs. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. That's
It's your prep for
competition.
Worlds. That's how it should be at this point.
Rib top 6. This honestly might be the format they end up going for every single time, unless they keep wanting to switch it up. I believe this is beautiful. It really ties in everything together, and you get to play everybody, and every match matters, especially for that grid. Like every match is going to matter.
It's gonna be the league play thing again, which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
They're implementing league play with an actual
With that
tourney
actual
style,
regional
yeah.
tourney style. It's a great mix. Sonic, you got to tip your hat to him. Like it's amazing work.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, tip the forehead.
Oh no!
Tip
Why you
something.
say the forehead, bro? Take a break.
Yeah.
Go to your timeout corner. What are you doing, bro? Tip my forehead.
He said that. Like he really said that.
I'm weak, bro.
And I love it. And I'm really excited to see all these teams play, bro.
Facts.
This is
I mean, now we say all of these teams play, but there's one team that doesn't need to play, and that's Team BDS in Europe. They have secured their world spot. And they don't
need.
Now, yes, it's true. To go to Worlds, they do not need to play anything else. They already have enough points. Now, the question is, should they play? That's what we're here to talk about. We're gonna start with
no question.
we're
It's
gonna start
not even a question. That's too much money to be made.
question.
Too much money to be made.
Yeah,
Let me move the mic like you. Let me move the mic to me. There's too much money to be made. Wait, I should have had it like this the whole time.
Facts.
Because how much money is there in this split? Let me look at this real fast. Let me break it. Let me crunch the numbers.
Break it down.
While he
Break it down.
doing that, for me, it's not even about the money.
Uh-oh.
They can make history with this. They win another regional, another split. Man, oh man. And then we can have another. Then we can have that conversation again. Is BDS the best team in the world? They win 3.
I don't think there will be a conversation. They win all 3. If they end up winning like a regional or 2, winning the major as well, that's like 150. That's about 150 something thousand. Just about the money itself, with the prestige, with the history.
Okay.
Of course, they need to play.
They need to play.
They need to play because they still got people like me out in this world here who think them game 7s, all that lucky, all the unfortunate. I'm not gonna call it lucky because luck is a residue of skill. It's a residue of skill. Luck really doesn't happen, but they do get a little fortunate.
Now, I will say this because this is, I think, the biggest question around this for me is, okay, BDS at this point, it's like when we talk about pro players in the grid, or like when we first talked about it, where we were talking about people don't care or it doesn't matter. That's going to be the argument people are going to have. It's like maybe BDS start losing in the spring split, and people are like, oh, well, they're just not trying because they don't need to try or something like that. You know what I mean?
And that's their fault. And that's their fault. They
That'll be
come
their
into
own
the
fault.
split, taking a break. Goats don't take breaks.
Right.
All right. You trying to break records? You trying to be the best of the best? You don't take breaks. And BDS so far has completed that. Why take a break now? Why work that hard to fall off? You know what I'm saying? Don't take your break. Monkey Moon, if you watching this, don't take your break.
You don't have to tell that cat. And also, Demar, to come back to your point about them taking a break or them feeling that they can ease off a little bit. If anything, from my perspective, it feels like they should push it on even more. Cause they still got a lot of people out there who just want to see them lose. And you gotta prove all these people that want to see you lose that we ain't losing anytime soon. We here to stay. For this split, for the major, for the worlds, and then after that we gonna stay again. And until somebody gets as good as us. So, and also just putting that fear in the people in EU, especially, like we can't beat them. Cause Vitality has a problem. Vitality is like mentally weak against them or something.
Yeah.
They live in BDS's head. So if Vitality starts beating BDS a little bit, that mental might go away. BDS might lose that edge. You never want to give competitors when you have that. Give them a chance.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about BDS being here to stay. Keep in mind, I think it was like a week ago or so, they announced that they're going to be with their org for 2 years. Like they signed like a 2-year contract to the end of 2022. Like
that's a G2 type contract.
Yeah.
Hey, better make the most out of them 2 years. Get another 5. Get another 5. You here to stay.
They're locking it down. They're locking it down. So I think that, yeah, I want to see BDS play. I want to see what they look like. You know what I mean? I want to see that energy that they have in the spring split. I hope that they don't get complacent at all, because once you get complacent, that's when it's over. At least in my opinion.
When it's done. No, 100%. 100%. When you lose that drive to keep staying at the top, that's why pro players that have been so long, Garrett G, Prime example, inspirational player.
The
Been at
example.
the top.
The
He is
example.
the example. He's been at the top for so long for one reason: motivation, his mentality. It's always there. It's at the
Work
top.
ethic. Work ethic off the
Work ethic.
charts.
He don't ever want to wash up. He doesn't want to leave, and that's the biggest
Right.
point of this
That's
whole
right.
thing.
And that's why whenever this Olympics happens and USA comes up, we're gonna have the captain, Garrett Gordon.
Yeah, Eric
And that
Gordon.
means we'll be winning. No offense to any other countries.
Oh gosh. Yeah, so in other news, I believe something that also just happened recently was Alaa announced his retirement. That did happen maybe I want to say like 10 minutes ago. A lot of people are like
Jeez.
blowing me up about it. But I think this is like the second time Alaa's retired. So,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Yeah. But he's been
Maybe.
gaming for like 6 years. I mean, you know, the tweet reads, "This probably isn't going to come as a surprise to a lot of people considering how things have been going for me in Rocket League, but I've decided I'm going to retire. Genuinely, these 6 years have been the best years of my entire life. And I want to thank every single one of you for everything." And so, you know, big shouts out to Alaa.
Genuine.
Yeah. It was
Once again, another OG.
yeah.
One of, for me, when I was initially starting to play the game a lot, I'm really starting to watch his redirect style, the amount of power he used to get on the ball and all that really was really inspiring. And I used to love watching him play. Especially when they used to go up, he was on Method, I believe.
Yep.
Method, right?
Yeah.
Method, they would play Cloud9. I wasn't too happy that they beat Cloud9 at that time, but it's whatever. But it's always really fun watching him. And if he is indeed retiring this time around, I wish him the best in his life and his endeavors. And he succeeded in Rocket League, which is really hard to do. So if you can succeed in Rocket League, you can succeed in many other facets in life. And I hope that he knows that. So wish him the best.
I feel like we'll see him come back as a coach or something. I think he could do it.
Yeah. I think so as well. Gentlemen, it's been a good show so far. A chat, if you guys have had any questions, let me know. But for you two as well, is there anything that we haven't hit on that you guys want to talk about?
Not really, man. I'm been chilling, man. As always, show's great. So, T-Bait, you got anything?
Nah, brother, I'm chilling. That was a nice little time on Monday at 12, which is such a nice time. I love this time. I'm awake, energized, and I still got the rest of my day. So
It's kind of facts.
All right. Spaceman asks, "Do you think we'll get a bubble for Worlds?"
Man, I hope so. I
Nice.
want to see it land again, man. Like I think
right.
adding the face cams to just the tourney was a great addition because it just gave us insight on like how hype people get, how demoralized other players are, and see if they can bounce back from that. You just get a bunch of facial expressions after goals, and I mean even during the games. I think a lot of people like to see the facial expressions of players, and I just want to see the crowd cheering. I want to hear that kind of
Bubble.
atmosphere. And oh yeah,
No
the
crowd.
bubble. There's no crowd, but you still get that at land. You still get that little oomph from the ball. Tell me how that oomph feels the more on land.
It's different. It definitely is different, bro. It's just something about it. The alpha boost, you hear the alpha boost come through, and then you just hear the ball touches. You just be doom, doom. You be like,
I hit the ball. I'm like, oh, I'm like, wait.
The ball hit me. So I mean, that's gonna really like affect them. It's gonna be like a lot of pressure on like even with people, regardless of like what's going on. It's just the pressure of being on that stage still hits, even if there's no one really around looking at you. You know what I mean? It's just that
They have a
atmosphere.
bubble. I think a bubble with talent, players, and like immediate families possible, because the vaccine, I believe, is going to be mass distributed in North America or USA at least. I think by like May. So I mean,
Yeah,
at that point,
they'll be kind of close.
It's
It's
doable though. It's doable though, if they really want to. But there's also there's always that worst case scenario that I know companies like Sonics would think about. So
Right.
I hope so. It's feasible. It's just a matter of how fast the vaccine comes in and whether they pull the trigger or not. But I hope they wait it out until at least like the end of May to see before making an announcement on it.
I really would like to see a Worlds. Hopefully we get one.
Okay, I guess I have to ask this one. Zach said he didn't get to ask this last time, but for roll this, how much did the reverse sweep of Envy and Sonics hurt?
Boy, you did get reverse swept, didn't you?
He did by the machine.
Bro, chill out, bro. Why you got man? Nah, I was saying, bro, I need like some sort of like mentality. Like I need T-Bates in my comms with me, man, to be like, come on, bro, you got this. Like I need that back, and I think I fell off like energy wise in that series, and that was like our ultimate demise. I think we had it. We were there. We
did
had
have
it.
it.
We were
Yeah,
in
you were up
control,
2-0. You were
but
there. You were there.
and I mean,
It happens. It's a growing experience.
we couldn't finish it. So I'm happy with my performance back after taking a 6-month break from the game, like playing competitively. I think I still got like some in the tank still. So I'm happy to see where we go from here. So
Got about a half tank.
have a tank.
About a half tank. Oh, God.
Bro, take me to the gas station real quick, defense. I need to refill up. Hold on.
T-Base needs to go to the gas station for the night, boy.
No facts, bro. Teammates need to fill up, bro. Teammates don't eat, bro. Teammates.
Don't listen to these dudes. I'm always on F. I'm always full.
Oh.
We're gonna need to see TB3 do something.
Any other questions? I love the questions. Questions are always amazing.
Someone, I don't know if this is true or not, but HNTRX 257 said, how do you think G2 not being in a team house will affect them this split? I don't know.
Not in the team house.
Yeah, I don't know if they're not in a team house or not. I think they still might be in a team house. I don't know. Yeah. It could be.
No, they're not.
They're not?
Oh, at least Rizzo is in there, remember?
Well, yeah, but Rizzo always kind of.
Or just they like, nah, does he?
I think so.
Yeah, he goes home.
He goes home. I thought he always played.
Comes back. Yeah, I think he goes back. But if he's not gonna be there,
if he's not going back, then that's different. But he always goes home, take a break. If he's not coming back, I mean, maybe it might be beneficial. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. Then it'd just be who stays there? Chicago and Jazzo, I believe.
And Jnaps.
Chicago.
Naps stays there?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they have a video of them walking around the house. The whole team stays there.
Really?
Yeah.
That's news to me. I thought Naps stayed in Canada. In a wherever the heck you from? Which one of them regions? I don't know. But if they're not in the team house, I mean, it could have a detrimental or beneficial effect. At the moment, they're struggling, so any sort of little change like that could help.
I think it would be beneficial. Yeah.
Yeah.
That little change.
It's doable, manageable.
I only think it's gonna be beneficial because right now they're struggling. So just getting a break, getting in the comfortable space of your own home where you live, like that's gonna be massive for people. Especially Rizzo, he gets to go home, chill out for a little bit. Jnaps gets to go back to Canada, chill out for a little bit. I don't know. I don't think Kago going back. He likes that East Coast a little too much. East Coast pain.
Yeah, the East Coast pain fits him nicely.
Kago chilling. So
any other questions to Babern?
I mean, not anything that we've really ever answered. It doesn't matter. We're kind of out of time anyways. I gotta say something here before we close out. We this is the 11th episode of First Touch, ladies and gentlemen.
11 weeks. My gosh.
11 episodes, not 11 weeks.
Oh wait, no.
Because we had some.
Yeah, that's right.
We did
like 6 weeks.
Right,
like
right.
6 weeks.
We've been doing this for a decent amount of time. It's definitely been a lot of fun. As you guys probably saw, if you guys have followed me on Twitter yesterday, I'm up to something, and that's all I'm gonna say on that. Is that I'm up to something. I'm up to something. But I do want to say real quick here for you guys. It's been very, very important that you guys have always been here watching us and supporting us throughout all this time. It's been a lot of work that has been going on that you guys aren't going to be aware of, but expect something from us here at First Touch this week. That's all I'm going to say there. But
we appreciate you a lot.
Yeah.
You guys are amazing.
100
I'm glad y'all tune in. Spaceman likes tuning in. Spaceman, I'm glad to see you in the chat. I never know who's in chat. DeMar looks at it. I never look at it. So, yeah. I always see Spaceman tweeting about it. So, Spaceman, I appreciate you God, just because Damar mentioned you.
He said, "I love you, teammates."
Get the hearts back up again.
So yeah, we have some things coming up very soon. But I will say, guys, thank you again so much for supporting us on this show. And we'll see you next Monday. On behalf of Roll This, teammates, and myself, we out. This has been First Touch. Peace.
Peace late.
Deuce.